And now it is that time of the evening where we announce the Golden Bedpan to Service Award winner. But before we do that, let's get to know your contestants a little better. In one corner for the Golden Bedpan Award is Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner. He may have been knocked out in last year's inaugural vote, but he has worked hard to make a comeback this year. Now 10 months without a state budget, Governor Rauner has made clear his turnaround agenda for Illinois means holding our state budget hostage. Governor Rauner wants his pro-business, anti-union policy agenda tied to the budget process. And no amount of human need or suffering, nor the fact that his agenda is and should be separate from the budget process, will convince him to fulfill his most basic responsibility as his job as governor. Let's be clear, plenty of people are also unhappy with Speaker Madigan, but he has been Speaker since 1983, and Illinois has always been able to implement some sort of state budget. And there are certain things, like the governor trying to balance the budget on the backs of the poorest and most vulnerable, that we cannot negotiate on. Rauner has been in office for 16 months. 16 months. 10 of those months, we have gone without a state budget. His job as governor is ultimately as the elected head of our state and to implement and execute state business. And that includes the state having a budget so we can pay our own bills. While Governor Rauner tours the state on his motorcycle, going to restaurants and ribbon-cutting events, vital community services are being cut and organizations are forced to close since Illinois can't pay its own bills. Our state's most vulnerable residents are being harmed as the services and programs they rely on are shutting down due to lack of funding. Communities are losing psychiatry services. Illinois has more than a $235 million backlog in payments to home health care service providers. Agencies are essentially being asked to bankroll the lack of a state budget, and many have tried to do so but are running out of money, and soon we'll be seeing even more devastating closures. Low-income seniors and families have already lost their energy assistance through LIHEAP and PIP as that funding had been cut. Education has been hit hard as schools at all levels face cuts. Locally, we have seen schools like Parkland and Eastern Illinois University having to raise tuition while at the same time laying off staff. And while that is going on, low-income college students are being financially hit as state MAP grants have not been appropriated since last July. Even the Illinois State Police are facing challenges as they lack the funding to hire the additional technicians needed to test evidence in collected rape kits, creating a backlog of over 3,000 kits. Even worse, RACES, our community's amazing rape crisis center, is just one of many organizations not receiving their state funding for the services that they are still providing. And unfortunately, they are not the only local social service provider that has had to lay off staff and cut services. And on a side note, if you are looking for something to do after tonight's event, I encourage you to head to downtown Champaign to support the RACES fundraising event at the Accord. Side note, but it's an important organization that also does great work. So if you're like me and you think that healthcare and social services, education, or workers' rights, or seniors' well-being are important and ought to be protected, then I think Governor Rauner is the most deserving of this year's Golden Bedpan Award.
Let me give you guys a little bit more information about our other contender. In the other corner, we have Martin Shkreli, the former Touring Pharmaceuticals CEO, also known as Pharma Bro. He earned his claim to fame last September when his company, Touring Pharmaceuticals, acquired the medicine Daraprim. Daraprim fights a rare infection seen primarily in patients with HIV and cancer. The infection is so rare that Daraprim did not have very many competitors, which proved disastrous when Shkreli raised the price of the medication from $13.50 to $750 per pill. That's a 5,500% increase. However, he didn't stop there, or he didn't start at Touring Pharmaceuticals either. He went on to another pharmaceutical company and bought the rights to benzimidazole. It's an anti-parasitic medication used in Latin America. With the rights to manufacture this medication in the US, pending approval from the FDA, Shkreli would have again raised prices and put much needed medication out of reach for those who needed it. Neither of these drugs were new. They were both decades-old medications for uncommon illnesses that Shkreli could hope to exploit for profit. a strategy that he had learned from his very first drug company, Retrofin. At a Forbes Healthcare Summit, while showing no sign whatsoever of human emotion or decency, he baldly admitted his actions were motivated by money. He said, "My investors expect me to maximize profits." Do I need to say it again? He thinks that keeping a life-saving treatment from the sick is a business model. Before he could continue his price gouging crusade, Shkreli was arrested for security fraud in mid-December. It's like surprising, right? Like he's got all these like great business practices and ethics. It's really no wonder that he was considered the most hated man in the world up until the 2016 presidential election. Donald Trump even called him a spoiled brat. That's an expert opinion. Shkreli perfectly embodies the greedy, entitled, and completely unregulated pharmaceutical industry. And if you believe that we have the right to affordable medications and protections from price gouging, then Martin Shkreli deserves your votes.
Actually, I'm gonna step in here. I don't mean to choose sides, but so there's something that very few people know about Governor Rauner, and I kind of feel like this might make him the top contender. I don't know if you can see our jar there. I think a lot of people agree with me. So before he was governor and before anyone ever knew Martin Shkreli, Bruce Rauner pulled a similar stunt. So Rauner was chairman of a private equity firm, bought Ovation Pharmaceuticals. This company owned a specialty medication called Endocin, which treats serious, life-threatening congenital heart defects in premature babies. Yeah. In 2006, Ovation sought out and acquired the rights to Endocin's only rival, neoprofen. The cost of these drugs skyrocketed to 1,250%, thereby probably making Rauner the original pharma bro. He set a bad example then, and he continues to lead with corporate greed and profits above human need, and as governor, he's just continued these habits, so like I said, I don't mean to choose sides. But.
Oh my gosh. Well, with that information, we're going to go ahead and announce the winner of the Golden Bedpan. All right, thank you to everyone who voted. And the winner is Governor Rauner. Thank you again to everyone who voted. We really appreciate it. Please enjoy our end of the year slideshow, and after which our director will make her closing remarks. Thanks.